Monday afternoon slash morning. So thank you for having me, Asba, and she has already introduced me. I can quickly talk about myself. So my name is Manzar. I did my master's from University of Oxford in 2021 and 22. That's the year when I had got the Chevening Scholarship. And currently, I'm working with research based at University of Oxford. It's called What Works Hub for Global Education. So, nothing much on that. What I can do is, I think as well, you'll have to let me allow the whole sharing option. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. If you can confirm if my screen is visible. Um,
Yes, it is.
okay. 1 second. Perfect. Great. So, without wasting further time, just a quick update on the outline, and also I'll try and switch the language from English and Hindi. So, in case you have any doubt, please wait till the end of the session. And as Asba said, we will be addressing each and every question, and it's better that we avoid questions during the presentation. Great. So we will be covering an overview of Chevening Scholarship, and then we will look at what are the eligibility criteria, and most importantly, the essays which you will have to write if you're planning to apply this year. Essays you will be writing in the first phase of application. Then we can go through the interviews, and then lastly, I will talk about the timeline. Okay. So, first thing first, Chevening is the UK government's scholarship program for students to pursue degree in the UK only. But please be mindful, it's only for degrees which are not more than 12 months long. Okay. So, most of the degrees, most of the master's degrees in the UK are not more than 1 year long. In case there are a few courses like, let's say, Master of Public Administration, LSC, right? It's a 2 year degree. So that will not be eligible for Chevening Scholarship. So answering your question, if in case you have, no, PhDs are not funded by Chevening. It only funds master's degrees. And also there's a caveat, if you're planning for an MBA, Chevening will have a cap. So let's say Chevening, if you're applying for a public policy course at, let's say, LSC, correct? Now the fee will be covered, totally covered. But in case you're planning an MBA, Chevening will only pay a certain amount for the MBA tuition fee, which is around 22,000 when I last remember, right? So that's the caveat. So please be mindful if you're planning for an MBA, you can Cheveling can only cover the fee up to £22,000. Apart from that, other facilities, other incentives they'll be giving you. If there is a non-MBA course which is less than 12 months long, which is a year long, it is eligible. Please, there's a web page on the Chevening website which has a list of eligible courses. So before you even start preparing your answers, your essays, your application, I would suggest go to the website, check the eligible courses on it, and if you can, once you are assured that yes, your course is eligible, then you can start preparing for it. Okay. The focus of Chevening has always been around the future leaders, change makers. They want to look at you as a brand ambassador. So once you become a Chevening scholar, they expect that wherever you go, through the work, through the people you meet, the network you build, the community you build, you are basically a brand ambassador of Chevening or UK. So they're looking at future change makers and leaders. Now, what all Chevening covers? So basically everything Chevening covers, from tuition fee to monthly stipend. So tuition fee is directly managed with the university, right? So let's say you have finalized a course, and if you got the Chevening scholarship, so that course payment, the fee payment for that course will be directly mapped with the university. You don't have to worry about that. What Chevening will do is give you a monthly stipend, which is then used by you for your living expenses like rent, travel, food, everything else. And that is decent enough to survive in the UK for at least 1 year. Your airfare, which is from India to any part, any university town you're coming, that will be covered. Also return. So both to and fro. The visa cost will be waived off. Your arrival, once you arrive, you will get an arrival allowance, some amount of money, which is, I think, during our time it was 500 to 600 pounds. So I'm assuming it would be slightly higher. Then you get a departure allowance as well. And if you are to attend any of the Chevening events, let's say Chevening farewell event or Chevening induction event, so all of that cost will also be covered if you are not in London. Okay, so this is basically about Chevening. The most important part is the eligibility criteria. You need to have an undergrad degree and at least 2 years of work experience. Now, this is something which has been changed recently. Previously, they said that it's okay for you to have work experience while you were doing your studies. Let's say you are in your second year of your undergrad, and next year you graduate, and you already have your experience gathered from internship or unpaid work or volunteering, or etc. That was counted until last year. Last year, they made this change that if you have graduated and then you have 2 years of work experience, then you are eligible to apply. Okay, even let's say after 2 years of your graduation, you have not worked full time, you have not worked in a paid role, that is still okay. But the experience will only count after your graduation. So this has changed last year, and that has in a way also screened a lot of applications. You would have to come back to the home country for at least 2 years after completing the scholarship, and you have to be eligible for 1 year master's program, which I have already talked about in the previous slide. And you have to meet all application requirements before deadline. So most of the application deadlines basically means if you decide to go for a course at LSE, okay, you need to get an unconditional offer by next year, July. So let's say applications will open this year in August. I'll talk about that in detail as well, but let's say अगस्त में applications खुलेगा. अगले साल जुलाई से पहले आपके पास उस आपके choice of course का unconditional offer होना चाहिए. Unconditional means you have met all the requirements. So when you apply to universities, please remember they will be initially asking you to submit a statement of purpose, your basic CV, all of these details. And once they have assessed, they will be giving you a conditional offer, which means that, okay, you are fit to be admitted, but you have to fulfill these conditions. Now, these conditions could be English language के लिए you can show IELTS का score. Transcript has to come from the university. So these could be the conditions. Financial requirement. So are you in a position to pay the fee? So showing them the amount. So in most of the cases, since you're getting a scholarship, you can show the scholarship letter, and the financial requirement will be waived off. And once all of these requirements are met, you get an unconditional offer. So Chevening asks you to get the unconditional offer before the deadline of application. That is July next year. Okay. Now the other important aspect, if you are eligible, you should be able to apply in August, and that's then you have to submit your essays. There are four essays. The first essay is on leadership and influencing, second is on networking, third is on choice of courses, and fourth is on career plan. Please remember the essays are now they have reduced the maximum words on each. So you have 300 words each essay. Previously, you had 500 words, so they have significantly reduced the number of words per essay. So that also changes how you draft your essays. So you'll have to again be very mindful of that. You cannot waste spaces, you cannot waste lines, and you have to really be calculative on how many words you use. Talking about essays, the first is leadership and influencing. Now, since it's the first essay and in the sequence, right? So when the assessor or reader will be reading your essay, this will be used to set the context. This will help to understand that what exactly this person is all about, and this will be a very important essay to begin with. Now, before you start, I would strongly advise that when, let's say you are starting your university application process, before you jump to writing essays or SOP, my advice is always do a mind map, draft a document which has every detail about your work experience. Now, the work you have done alone, work you have done in the community, work where you have achieved something positive, or if not something has been achieved, you are at least trying to achieve, so that at least you have a key takeaway to talk about. Now, importantly, Chevening emphasizes that you have to always talk about your individual contribution. You should never say that, oh, my team did this, oh, my team did that. They are not here to talk about your team. They are here to talk about your work, your contribution to this particular work example you have mentioned. Okay. Now you can also talk about how you have shaped the opinions and actions of people around you, and what did this experience teach you? What was the key takeaway? So once you have drafted all of this, you have a good content to write in the essay. Previously, I used to advise 2 to 3, but now since only it's 200 words, 300 words, I would suggest do not go beyond maximum 2 examples, only if you're able to talk about or do justice to the second example. Else, you can stick to one example, that is okay. Okay. So this is your draft ready. How do you 1 second. Sorry for that. There's some confusion. Now, how do you structure your essay? Okay. Um, I would suggest never start writing quotations. Okay. That, oh, Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King or this and that says this is the definition of leadership. Do not do that. Do not waste your words. Now, it's anyway all the more important not to waste words. You can always start with a strong example. Now, I would still say when you start an essay, you can write a few lines, maybe 1 or 2 lines, which in a way gives them that what has taught you as a leader. Let's say if you have worked in a low income school as a teacher, right? So you can talk about that, how this experience of teaching in this one remote area slum school, or let's say working in some part of, someone was from Nagaland, so they can talk about how access to facilities or access to healthcare or education or any other particular facility is difficult. Or let's say if you have worked in some part of Chhattisgarh as well. So you can talk about that very briefly, which in a way gives the reader a sense that okay, this person has some experience and this person has seen marginalization, and then that has shaped you as a leader. So you can start with a very basic few lines, and then you can use the example which I have talked about in the previous one, that you can start with one example that in this particular role, um, how your leadership emerged, how your leadership was actually used. And this answer has to be in STAR or CAR approach. Now, what exactly is this? CAR stands for context, action, and result. Similarly, STAR, situation, task, action, and result. Now, let me give you an example of this. Now, since we're talking of education, since we're talking of school, let's say you were a Teach for India fellow. You were teaching in a school, you were placed in a school where dropout rate was really high, and you have joined there as a fellow. Now you can start that. This example can have components like I was placed as a fellow in this particular school, which is a low income school, and which has a dropout rate of this. So you are already setting the context. You're telling the reader that this is the quantum of issue. This is the extent of the issue. People have been dropping out. Let's say the gender ratio is also skewed, so you can talk about that. So in a way, they get the context. Then you talk about your role. What is the action you took? Like what you are doing. So let's say you started a community outreach program, you started a community awareness program, you started a project internally, or some task of yours, which was to address this problem which you have talked about in the first few lines of the example. And then you have talked about the action, and then you talk about the result. Then you say that, okay, due to my intervention, finally the dropout rate reduced from this to this. So you are in a way giving them the context of the situation you were in. You are talking about the action or the task you had to undertake, and then in the end you're talking about the result. Now this approach has to be used everywhere you go in your life, because this gives the reader a very crisp and quick understanding of that. Okay, what was the situation all about? What was the problem, and how did you approach it? Once you have given the example, please make sure all your examples should be quantified. Do not, wherever possible. I get it, like it's difficult to quantify everything, but wherever possible, please try to quantify it. When I say quantify, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपने बोला ड्रॉप आउट रेट था तो ड्रॉप आउट रेट कितने परसेंटेज से था। अगर आपने कम्युनिटी आउटरीच किया तो कितने हाउस होल्ड कितने घरों में जाके आपने आउटरीच किया, कितने लोगों के साथ आउटरीच किया। अगर आपने कोई बजट रेज किया, फंड रेज किया, तो क्या अमाउंट था उस फंड का। ठीक है। एट द सेम टाइम इम्पैक्ट की जब बात करोगे तो व्हाट वाज द इम्पैक्ट, हाउ मेनी people started showing up to your classrooms, what was the increase in the classroom participation, so you are again quantifying the impact. ठीक है। And this is very generic. Keep it simple. Do not use heavy jargons. Do not use heavy English high frequency word thinking कि अगर इतना difficult English use करेंगे तो ऐसे select हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं. Keep it simple because a reader has to go through multiple essays. They don't have much time. So you have to be really plain and simple so that anyone can understand. Second. Okay. The next essay is the networking essay. Again, yeah. Now, networking does not mean only if you are talking to an individual, if you're an extrovert, you have 5,000, 50,000 Instagram followers, then you're good at networking. So please do not bring all of this into the example. Okay. The idea here, what Chevening tries to understand is how do you build community or how do you build network around you to achieve a task, to work on a common goal. So in a way, they are looking at someone who can talk about their work passionately, someone who can benefit the larger community at large. So this is what networking is for them. So building community, shared knowledge, all of this, that's what they try to do. Now, very similar to the previous one, again using the star or car approach. I'm not going to talk about that in detail, but here they want to look at how uniquely or how differently you maintain networks, right? So how have you been, let's say in your role, you were able to bring XYZ organization for this particular problem. Again, since we are talking about examples of education only, let's say you were in a school which was in a dilapidated state, जिसकी दरवाजे पे हालत खराब है, बेंच रूम अच्छी नहीं है, बेंच नहीं है, क्लासरूम की स्ट्रक्चर अच्छी नहीं है, तो आपने डिसाइड किया कि यू विल रिवैम्प दिस और यू विल इन अ वे फोकस ऑन transforming this particular classroom. ठीक है। So then you use your network of your previous work space. आपने इस नेटवर्क को ले आया जहां से आपने फंडिंग लाई, आपने CSR लाया। सो आप अगर अलग अलग कम्युनिटी के जिसमें पार्ट रहे हो उनको यूज करके अगर आप एक करंट प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर रहे हो, टॉक अबाउट दैट. Okay. So it has to be how you brought people together, how your efforts contributed to meaningful change, and it could be in your organization, it could be in community, it could be beyond as well. Okay. How these relationships would help you or your clients in the future, very briefly. And also, how do you wish to network in the UK Chevening cohort? Now, remember, the example is important here, and also how this network will benefit you or how this network has benefited you. That is important. Agar words bachenge, only then you go to other aspects of, let's say, how you wish to network, etc. The third is choice of courses. When you will be applying in August, then they don't expect you to have an offer letter. Also, for the people who are applying for the first time or who are getting into the higher education application for the first time, please remember scholarship applications are a different process altogether. University applications are a different process altogether. आपको दोनों के लिए अलग अलग प्रिपरेशन अलग अलग डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करनी होगी. So, जब आप चीवनिंग के लिए अप्लाई करेंगे, it's an external scholarship, which means, so just I'll slightly deviate from the topic, but just for everyone's understanding, scholarships are of two types, external and internal. External means, let's say there's a central body, which is, let's say, government of UK in this case. They are funding multiple universities, so they're not tied to one university in the UK or one course or one department in the UK. They are funding multiple courses, multiple universities in the UK. So this is an external scholarship. Another example of external scholarship would be Commonwealth, okay, in lakhs. So these are external scholarships. Then we have internal scholarship, which means it is specific to either that particular university or a particular department or a particular course. Example, WHT. WHT is Weidenfeld Hoffman Trust. It's a scholarship in University of Oxford only. We have similarly we have Gates Cambridge Scholarship. Gates Cambridge Scholarship is only at Cambridge, so it's an internal scholarship. So when you are doing your research, you have to do entire research on what are the existing scholarship one for your course. Now this could be internal scholarship and external scholarship as well. Okay. Now separate processes. So when you are applying for Chevening, which is an external scholarship, you have to mention three choice of courses in your application. Now, three choice of courses could be again from any university in the UK which is eligible, but you don't need an offer letter at this point of time. Obviously, it's too early, right? They just need you to give the name of the courses and explain one course in detail. पहले होता था कि आपको तीन कोर्स को डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन करना होता था। अब वही आ चुका है। अब आपको एक ही चॉइस ऑफ कोर्स को एक्सप्लेन करो, बाकी लेकिन तीन चॉइस को वेबसाइट पे मेंशन करो। ठीक है। नाउ इनके प्रायोरिटी एरियाज हैं यूके के। अब ये शुरू कर चुके हैं बोलना कि इन तीन चार प्रायोरिटी एरियाज में जो भी आपका कोर्स अलाइन होता है आपको वो कोर्स सेलेक्ट करना है। तो लार्जली इन हर कोर्स इन तीन चारों में आ ही जाता है एक तरीके से। तो आपको वो एक्सप्लेन करना है। अब आपको एसेस में क्या लिखना है? देखो, whenever you start writing your choice of course ऐसे, अब अभी लेट्स से हम पब्लिक पॉलिसी लिखना चाहते हैं, तो आप सीधे बोलोगे भाई माय फर्स्ट चॉइस ऑफ कोर्स। अगर आपका पहला चॉइस ऑफ कोर्स एमपीपी एट ऑक्सफोर्ड है, तो आप बहुत ब्रीफली स्टार्टिंग की एक दो लाइन में यू विल गिव एन ओवर आर्चिंग थीम कि क्या मोटिवेशन था आपका इस कोर्स को सिलेक्ट करने के लिए। तो लेट्स से अगर आपने कोर्स हायर एजुकेशन दो वजह से सेलेक्ट करता है। या तो अगर आपको आपकी प्रीवियस डिग्री या आपको अपस्किल करना है अपने प्रीवियस एजुकेशन पे, वो हो सकता है। या आपने प्रीवियस वर्क एक्सपीरियंस में आपने कुछ सीखा है ऐसा, जहाँ लगा कि अगर आपको इफेक्टिवली काम करना है वो, देन यू नीड another degree. So true, there are two motives to higher education. One, obviously upskilling yourself. So you can talk about that briefly, that my previous education was in this degree. Now I wish to pursue, let's say, a climate angle to my policy approach. So now you want to do a policy degree, which could be intertwined with with the climate angle. So that could be one way of doing it. Second way of doing this could be कि आप you worked in XYZ organization where your role was let's say manager of partnerships, and you realize that something is missing from your education or your experience which will be more helpful for you if you come back with this degree. तो आप वो लिखोगे briefly. Always give some statistics or data to make your case stronger, and then start with an introduction with the of the course. Which course have you selected? You talk about the course, you talk about the modules taught, how it aligns with your background, how it aligns with your career aspirations, and the impact you hope to make. So, talk about the course in detail, its few modules, it can link with your previous experience or previous degree, and then talk about how this will align with your future goals. Again, 300 words, you don't have too many words. You only have to explain one choice of course now, unlike three. पहले क्या होता था कि तीनों को explain करना था, अब सिर्फ एक है, तो you have enough words to explain this properly. And lastly, we have career plans. Again, यहाँ पे priorities के align होना चाहिए. And then you have to talk about there should be a short, mid and long term career plan. ठीक है? Your career plans should always be short, mid and long term. You can categorize it. You can always talk about that how you can come back and collaborate on global and local challenges based on above priorities, which is here. And how do you structure it? Sorry, how do you structure it? When you start your career plan, just like the choice of courses, you can give an overarching theme which talks about which basically gives the reader that okay, this person wants to work in public policy, this person wants to work in edtech, this person wants to work in AI and labor. So आप एक starting ऐसा paragraph बोलोगे जहाँ बताओगे कि um, let's say you have worked in state level roles previously. Now, upon your return from the UK, you would like to work in a role which will allow you to directly work with the central government or directly work with the funding organization. So maybe give them an overview and then go with short term, mid term, and long term. So my short term plan immediately after coming back from the UK would be to work in this particular organization at this particular role, and my education at MPP at Oxford where I learned evidence. Let's say आपने research पे काम किया है. How will research contribute to this particular career plan? So you have to sync it in a way that it talks about what you want to do very specifically, where you want to do very specifically, and then how your degree will contribute to that. So ये आप short, mid, long में बोलोगे, and किसी भी short, mid, long में you can talk about how will Chevening help you achieve these goals. So this is how you approach the essay. This is career plans. तो ये चारों essays हो गए. Now we move to the references. At the application stage, which is August, you only need to mention the details of two referees. It could be academic and professional. I advise keep it a mix, but at least एक professional तो होना ही चाहिए. कोशिश कीजिएगा. Once you are invited for the interview, which is mostly in February, you will before February you have to upload the reference letters on the system. अभी आपको reference letter upload नहीं करना है. अभी अगस्त एप्लीकेशन में सिर्फ आपको एसेज लिख के अपलोड करने हैं, अपने रेफरीज के नाम डालने हैं और चॉइस ऑफ कोर्सेज डालना है, वर्क एक्सपीरियंस डालना है. ठीक है. रेफरेंस जब आप अपलोड करोगे, इट शुड हैव डिटेल्स, हाउ लॉन्ग दे हैव नोन यू, एंड ओवरऑल हाउ वेल दे कैन टॉक अबाउट योर लीडरशिप, your influencing skills, your interpersonal skills, and your ability to complete an academic program. This has to be covered. Chevening का website is very resourceful. I would advise कि आप जब preparation करें उसको जरूर रेफर करें. इंटरव्यूज यूजुअली मार्च अप्रैल में होते हैं, फरवरी में इनका रिजल्ट आ जाता है. सॉरी, फरवरी में रिजल्ट आएगा और मार्च अप्रैल में आपके इंटरव्यूज होंगे. 3 to 4 मेंबर्स रहेंगे पैनल में. इट्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट रिलैक्स इंटरव्यूज आई हैव एवर गिवन. 20 मिनट से ज्यादा का इंटरव्यू नहीं होगा. आपके एसेज के अराउंड ही इंटरव्यूज लिए जाएंगे, आपको उसी के अराउंड क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे. सो यू हैव टू एलैबोरेट ऑन योर एसेज. सम एडिशनल जनरल क्वेश्चंस होंगे बट ज्यादा टेक्निकल हार्ड क्वेश्चंस नहीं होते हैं. इट्स वेरी इंटरपर्सनल स्लैश पर्सनैलिटी बेस्ड इंटरव्यू एंड दे फोकस ओनली ऑन द essays you have written. Timeline: applications open in August. I have talked about it. You have to upload your work details, your essays, referee can details, choice of courses. फिर इंटरव्यू की कॉल आपको फरवरी में आएगी. इसके पहले आपको रेफरेंस डालना है, ट्रांसक्रिप्ट डालना है, शॉर्ट बायो डालना है पोर्टल पे. एंड देन लास्टली रिजल्ट जून में आते हैं. जुलाई के पहले, अर्ली टू मिड जुलाई के पहले आपको एक अनकंडीशनल ऑफर लाना पड़ेगा जिसके लिए अवार्ड कन्फर्म हुआ. ठीक है. सो दैट्स चीवनिंग इन द नटशेल. हैप्पी टू टेक क्वेश्चंस इफ एनी.
Hey, thank you so much, Manzar, for taking up the workshop. And I guess it's third time I'm attending this workshop, and still there is some or another new thing. I always learn. I always go through. So thank you so much for being with us, for being with our community. And now it's time for the Q&A. So to everyone, please feel free to raise your hands, and at the same time, please feel free to drop down your questions in the chat box as well. And till then, I have also attached the official website of the Chevening Scholarship India, so you can just go ahead and check it for reference. But now we can go ahead with Sobia. So Sobia, here we go.
Uh, yes, my question is about see, I'm a final year law student. I want to apply for different universities since my application process is like yet and start process. So, am I eligible for like this scholarship?
No, Sobya, this year they came up with a rule that once you graduate, then you should have at least 2 years of work experience, then you should apply. Previously, they were okay with your experience being garnered over the last, let's say, while you have studied, so that was okay. But now they're saying once you have graduated, then you should have at least 2 years of work experience. So this scholarship might not be eligible for you. You might not be eligible for this scholarship, but you can definitely apply for Chevening or other internal scholarship which I mentioned.
Is it like is there any another scholarship that I can apply for in my final year? As I have
Yeah,
decided to apply for different universities, right? The process has yet in process. It is being like starting.
yeah.
So, is there any scholarship where I can be eligible?
Yes, you can. So that's what I'm saying. So you can apply for Commonwealth scholarship. That does not require you to have at least. I mean, they require you to have experience, but not immediately after 2 years. So you can look at Commonwealth. You can look at if you're looking at let's say Oxford. Oxford has a scholarship called as WHT, Weidenfeld Hoffman Trust. If you're looking at Cambridge, I have talked about that. There's a scholarship called as Gates Cambridge Scholarship. Um, then Commonwealth has two types of scholarship. One is Commonwealth Masters and Commonwealth Shared. Commonwealth Shared is directly given by the university. Commonwealth Masters is managed by the Ministry of Education in India. So these are a few scholarships you can definitely apply for. You can look at INLACS scholarship, INLAKS. INLACS is again an Indian scholarship, right?
Like, what
Uh,
is like the eligibility criteria for those scholarship? It's like that there must be some percentage in UG. Like, importantly, say for example,
the overall they expect you to have at least 60% if I'm not wrong. That would be a very general requirement from most of the scholarships. That could be one I could think of immediately, but definitely every scholarship has different long list of eligibility, and I'm not sure it would be justice to talk about all of that in detail right now. But I would request you to go through the names I mentioned. I'm sure you must have noted it. So please check these scholarships in detail.
okay, I'm checking it out.
Kritagya, if you would like to go ahead next.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Manzar. I think this was really helpful. I have two questions. First is, do these four essays, do they have to build some sort of coherence overall, or should we look at each essay as only that one essay needs to make sense? My another question was about exactly what Chevening offers. So we have to write about this in the networking as well as career plans essay. So is there something that they are actively looking for in our answers when we talk about how Chevening is going to help us? Thanks. Yeah,
Okay,
these.
okay. As the first point regarding coherence, mm, well, see, the to some extent it will. Honestly, some people have talked about with the leadership example, which is nowhere linked to their work experience. Like so, and you can also do that. I don't think there needs to be a very strong coherence. It is still okay, but especially when you're talking about your choice of course and your career plan, these two should sync well. You cannot be talking about, let's say, your degree in policy and then your work experience, what you want to do, it should be in tech, right? So there has to be some coherence and some relation to that. Whereas networking and leadership, these are two very independent essays because your leadership skills could be showcased anywhere. It need not be at your workplace, it need not be in your community, it can be shown anywhere. So that can be a very independent standalone essay. Similarly, networking. However, the last two essays, they should be complementary to each other. It should make sense to them that why you are pursuing this degree and how is it aligning with your career plans. That is one. Second, regarding the second question of how can you mention on what they're offering? Well, I would still suggest the networking bit, don't pay a lot of attention on that. Like just keep a few lines, not detailed lines on that, because again, it's very limited. You can, in the last one, I think what I have advised to all my mentees now and who have managed to get through achieving over the last few years is how you can talk about a particular alumni or let's say a particular achieving scholar who has been working in this domain, how you can collaborate with them. If there's this existing government program of the UK where you think you can work with them. So maybe some research on these existing projects or existing alumni with whom you can collaborate. Maybe that you can try. But basically the idea they want to see is that you have researched well and you're able to fit yourself in the achieving community already. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Thanks. Thanks so much.
Ruchi, if you would like to go next, and then Nafisa.
Sure, thank you, Aspa. Hi, Manzir. Thank you for everything you have been doing, not only this workshop. Uh, my question is that you just mentioned that we need to apply, we need to also mention two referees that we'll be taking. Although the reference letter we'll be uploading is almost a year later, only if we are called for the interview. So can we change those names in that course of 1 year, or it needs to be the same people whose name we give during our August application? And do you suggest that we should take a reference letter now itself?
Okay. Well, it won't one it won't be long enough. So let's say the deadline is in November. So you just one, yes, you can change the referees before a certain date. So Chevening gives you that option. Okay. Having said that, if let's say there's some situation where you can't change, and I would still say that let's say November usually is a deadline. So August, September, October, November mostly depends when is this coming. So by October you apply, November, December, January, almost 3.5, 4 months you get to upload the reference letter. If by that time the person has changed or your relation with the person has changed, maybe you will still get a window until January to change the referee. So that is still okay. So you can try. So you can try maybe just changing the referee details before February. But then be mindful of the deadline because uske beyond you can't change.
All right. Thank you so much. And
All right.
do you suggest that we should collect the reference letter as soon as possible, or it should be done
It's
somewhere around
it's
Jan Fab only?
it's fine. I mean, you can do it later. I mean, I would say when you start preparing, you will not have time to focus on reference letters, but you can do it later as well. But it's just keep them updated that this will be coming and they need to give you something.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sachin?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sachin.
Yeah. Thank you, Manzar. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about the mind map writing in the beginning of your session. Would you like to elaborate more on that? You were talking about the work experience, maybe putting it together and making sure everything is at one place, and then we are writing our thesis answer.
Hmm. Yeah, this is a very this is a borrowed idea from the approach I used to write for writing college SOPs. I can advise here as well. So what you can do is when you are starting your preparation for any application, be it university or scholarship application, before you get into writing the essays, like before the formal process of writing it properly, I would suggest spend a few weeks, if not days, to draft a document which is a master document, right? Now, Asba is tired of listening to this same approach over the last few years now. But what I advise is keep a master document that basically talks your entire life journey. Now, this life journey will talk about the challenges you have faced, the achievements you have had. Um, what did you learn from it? And this can be as small as, let's say, you were working in a space where you personally experienced the issue of healthcare, or you personally experienced the issue of livelihood insecurities. So you create a document that is too detailed, which has every possible minute details as possible, and then at the same time, what were the key takeaways? What did you learn from it? So the agenda should be that you deep dive within yourself and understand that who you are as a person, what experiences have taught you what you have learned today, what shaped you, your personality, your vision, your perspective, and then why you want to do a degree ahead, what you want to do in the future. So this document will serve you as a proper mind map for everything in the next coming 6, 7 months. Because I keep telling this to my mentees that a higher education application is like a marathon race. Like you have to start now, and until next year, June, July, you will be working on it. So it needs a lot of endurance. So you need a document which talks about everything in your life from your personal to work experience. And then when you start writing these essays, now you have a detailed compendium of examples from your life, and then you can just pick point. Okay, I have to showcase in this example, I have been a leader for my community. So you just pick that and then write the answer. Similarly, when you write your college SOPs, university SOP, this master document will also serve as a very, very good example to a source document to basically write your SOPs and essays. So this is how you can start. Chevening particularly is all about leadership. So I would not I will not request. I will not. I will not expect you to immediately write that, okay, boast about yourself in the first line. It needs a very contextual setting up approach, that you set up a very nice context that the reader can understand. They themselves could feel that they were in that situation of problem which you were are talking about. So keep it very simple. Give them a few stats, and then talk about how did you actually approach it. Even if you did not achieve something, what did you learn from the process? So that's basically giving them the whole context and making them feel they're part of the process just as you were. So this is the usual approach I advise. Not sure if it works, but it has worked for some, but I hope it works for you as well.
Yeah, and also I wanted to ask you the different experience we take during our journey. For example, sometime it is 1 month or 6 months and 1.5 year. So how should we approach towards our answers? Because we get confused during that timeline.
Timeline for what?
The work that we do, like the experience that I had during my professional journey,
Okay.
like sometime it is 6 months of work, sometime it is short work, sometime it is
Yeah.
1.5 year. So how should we write the answers?
So when you're writing your essay, you have to select one example from any of these experiences you've talked about. Okay, if you think that one example from your 6 months of work experience is more impactful is than the 1 year of work experience, give that example. They do not expect you to write examples from your immediate job. And it again, leadership can come from your university experience as well, something you did in university which showcased you as a leader. But if, let's say, if you have at least 4 or 5 years of experience, then I would not expect you to talk about, let's say, college experience. But let's say if you have something recently, preferably add that. But again, weigh in the impact versus the duration you have spent on that role.
Thank you, Mansur. Thank you so much.
So, Mansa, there is a question in the chat box, and it's regarding how to showcase your career gap, or how does it look in the application process.
Doesn't matter. Chini doesn't care about it. They honestly don't care about cheating. There's no mention of that. Plus, when you're writing your work experience in the portal, it's only used to calculate the number of hours or showcase that you have at least 2,800 hours or at least 2 years of experience. They're not hell bent on why was this a gap. And you can be honest with them, and they are really understand. If there is a reason for you to explain, if they're asking you to explain the education gap, you can talk about it. If you have appeared for university, if you have appeared for competitive exams, you can talk about that as well. So it's completely okay.
So, there's another question that is regarding, does working for too long, almost 2 decades, affect someone's chances of getting the scholarship or the admissions in courses for that matter?
If you have worked one, no, I have seen like people who have good experience get it. But if you have like 20 years of experience, in that case, there's something called a Chevening Gurukul. It's for mid-career professionals. So that's a short fellowship program. You can always aim for that, where you have a stronger chance as compared to scholarship, which are a bit competitive for people who have a lot of experience.
Yeah, and another question is regarding, does Chevening favor any particular field like humanities or social
No, no,
justice or
it
sciences?
doesn't. It may seem that a lot of folks, I mean, I think the number of applications evening gets is higher for humanities or social sciences. So eventually, people who get through are more in them for this particular field, but there's no preference for the field.
Sadia, you can go ahead and ask your question now.
Hi. I just wanted to ask that, like, first, I will proceed with my introduction that I am a biotech student currently in my fourth year course. And the fourth year is all about, like, we have to do dissertation and internship on a research on a project. So it's like it's somewhat like a master's 1 year. You can consider it. So, for my like master's second year, is there any scholarship like this in UK? So I can complete 1 year master's, like being a biotech student. something like that.
I'm the wrong person for this, Shazia. I wish I knew. Um,
Oh,
I don't think such course exists, especially in biotech. You could look at exchange program, but I'm really sorry. I wish I knew more about it.
and any other like research scholarship for something like masters and PhD if I want to pursue in UK? No.
I'm sure there are research scholarships, but I'm the wrong person. I have zero idea about
Oh, okay.
research scholarships or PhD, but I'm sure there will be a few.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
And maybe I can also answer on behalf of Manzar that you have to do your own research as well. So spend definitely some good amount of time with the any of the scholarship you are applying to, or
Yeah,
any
yeah.
of the university you would like to go ahead. Check their courses, check what all they offer, and then you will be at the right position to
Uh,
like
yeah.
go ahead and Manzar is always there. We I have attached his ID over here, so and it's for everyone. Please just go ahead and do your own research about
Mhm.
this and likewise. So yeah, thank you so much, Shazia. Ilham,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Hello, hi, Manzar. Thank you for your very informative presentation. You mentioned that after completing a master's degree, we have to come back to India and serve for 2 years, and it is mandatory, right? I wanted to ask that are you aware of, or your fellow other Chevening scholars, are they able to make good enough connections that they can actually come back to the UK and work there, after the mandatory 2 year period is over? Also, I was recently watching a lot of videos. I don't know how much true is that, about the housing crisis and the in the UK and a lot of other things. So, how true is that about the jobs getting affected? Of course, the whole world order was disturbed in the last 6 months, but I'm asking in general, how should one consider you for doing a master's, or what's your take on that?
For the first, I'm the example. I'm here. I finished my 2 years of curfew period, or let's say the deadline and timeline mentioned by cheating. And right in September, I finished last year, and then I came back in October. I got a job, and I'm here since then. Um,
So, do they
one,
monitor this 2 year period that you're actually going back to your home country, and how do they monitor this?
well, when you are about to finish, right? So they will be booking your flight tickets. So
Uh-huh.
beyond, let's say you can't, it's being recorded, right? Okay. Um, I one there is they what they do is they will your visa will expire, so you can't stay in the country without your valid visa. So you will have to step out of the country.
Right,
That
right.
is one. Regarding monitoring, well, there have been certain loopholes. People have exploited it. I wouldn't personally recommend that because what if tomorrow in the because one of the biggest challenges is, let's say, people who want to come back and let's say they want to get something like an ILR. Let's say this very similar to the residency in PR, right? There is a whole background check that happens, and in that background check, if it turns
Mhm.
out that well you were a Chevening scholar and yet you decided to stay in the country secretively, or maybe go to some other country
Mhm.
and then come back secretively, that will impact your profile. So I would advise that if you want to come back, you can always build connections and understand the work culture here, and then once you are in India and then you would like to come back, you can try. It's easy. It's not easy. It's difficult for sure, but people have got it. I have got it. But again, I'm amongst a few people who have managed to come back. But people have come back, and you can come back. But I would strongly recommend at least spend the 2 years because you are in a way committing to the scholarship. They are giving your entire fees. They're taking care of everything. So at least
Agreed.
the 2 years should be agreed to. And regarding the crisis and stuff, it's fine. It's manageable. Don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
I have one point to make before there was a question on AI draft applications. I think Chevening has come up with a very strong message that they will not be encouraging because they have tools to detect the AI drafted answers, be it ChatGPT or anything, please avoid that. It's very, very explicitly written on the website. So don't use AI for drafting your essays.
Hi, Manjar. I'm Prabhu here. I have a question. So basically, my profile is quite different than
Shreya,
others. So I have 10 years of experience, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure
Shreya,
I
if you
will
would
be
like to
up.
go next.
Can you
Asma, I
hear
think
me, guys?
Prabhu is speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, Jatin, you can go ahead, and then Wajiha.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Please go ahead.
So, so currently, I would like to know,
Jatin, Wajiha,
same.
you can go ahead.
Asma, sorry, I think you were on mute. Prabhu has been speaking, so let him finish first.
Abraze, you can go
So
ahead then.
Okay, I think there's something wrong.
Abraze, Samreen,
I
Lubna,
think she is
anyone
unable to hear
would like
us.
to mute themselves, they can go ahead.
Asba, I think Prabhu's already asking his question.
Yeah, I'll finish the question.
Yeah, yeah.
So for my profile, since I have a huge years of experience, will Chevening suitable for my profile? And nature of my job is to travel across Middle East and come back. And
Okay.
I'll be residing based in India, but still I work in hospital sector, and that requires a travel. So if I take a Chevening scholar and come back to India,
Hmm.
still if I need to travel, will there be an issue?
Yes, yes. Quickly addressing that part first. Yes, it won't be an issue at all. As long as you're out of the country, that's fine by them. And as someone asked, like, when they don't supervise, they don't look at you very closely that, oh, has Prabhu left the country or not? I mean, yes, they will book the tickets and everything, and they recommend. But once you're out of the UK, they don't have a say on any other border, right? Like you can go to any country for the work, especially, and that's completely fine. Answering your question on the work experience bit, it should be okay, Prabhu. I've had people who have at least the maximum I've seen is like someone who has had 15 years of experience. He was in my batch. I wouldn't say it's a very normal thing because Chevening also prefers people who have less experience as well. But at the same time, there have been cases where someone who has vast experience or decade of experience, they have still managed to get the scholarship. So I wouldn't say don't apply for this reason. You should apply. And definitely the second reason is for the second point, you are free to travel anywhere. There's no restriction on that.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thanks, myself.
No worries.
Hi, Manzar. This is Shreya. Am I audible?
Yes, sure, you're audible.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for the informative session. I have a question regarding the essay, the leadership essay that you spoke of. So, what I've seen is a lot of Chevening scholars have either led their ventures in the sense it would be a social impact project that they would have started. So we have in PFI we have something called as BTCP, Be the Change Project, where a lot of fellows have started a small project and then they have grown into the community, and that's a very strong evidence of something that you would have led individually, and it is a great evidence of leadership. But is it always necessary, or how can we position one could have also significantly contributed to a project in an organization that they are working. So how do we position ourselves so that that can act as a differentiator, or that can increase our chances of getting selected?
Okay. It's a very common question. I think people often the scholars you see on social media, the scholars you see
Yeah.
on different portals, and they come across with a profile, and I get it. Chevening also tries to promote scholars who have started an organization, who have led an organization of their own and stuff. But having said that, Chevening every year selects 40 to 45 students across India. Okay. Um, Most of the students, they don't hold a position of leadership in a particular organization. It could be, and they need not be founder of XYZ working on, let's say, child education. So it's common to come from regular jobs, come from regular organization, not be a founder, not be a director, and it's completely okay. So you don't have to explicitly be someone who started something. That's one. There is example, like I know lots of my tuning friends, they are not running an organization. They did not do that in the past as well. So it's completely fine. Second, I know about this model of TFI. It's definitely now when you talk about, should we be talking about such projects or you being part of an organization and then the role you had held? Um, Personally, I'll give two opinion personally and how I think Chevening approaches this. Personally, I would always encourage you to weigh in the role where you think the impact was significantly higher, or at least the problem was difficult, and then you approach with a very positive or strong mindset. And then even if you did not achieve something significant or let's say something impactful, but you did had a strong key takeaway. So this is again where you have to weigh in and assess which one is a stronger example. um, I personally, maybe at times people prefer that where you have largely worked with the community, like with where is more front facing or more into the at the grassroots or working with people directly, that has had more impact than maybe drafting a let's say a tech app or something around those lines. So I would say focus on something which involves more of people, more on community level or more on micro level change than as compared to just the organization. But in case you don't have that option, I think it's completely fine for you to bring an example from your work experience, from your regular jobs, and not part of any project, something we don't have. So I'm leaving you with more questions now, Shreya. I'm so sorry, but you'll have to assess which one has more impact. But it is both are completely acceptable. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Just one more question. I come from a technical background. I've done my master's in science and then
Hmm.
I pivoted into development and education. Am I still eligible to apply for master's? Uh, in,
Everyone's story. I was an engineer, just like every
okay,
third person in India, moved to social sciences. And also, I think I'll answer the other question as well. This was my second master's in the UK. So I did a master's at TIS Mumbai first, and then worked for a few years, and then did another master's. So it's completely fine if you have pivoted. That's okay. It's completely fine if this will be your second master's. That's also okay.
got it. Thank you so much.
No worries. All the best.
Can I go next? Am I audible?
Yes, Lubna.
Okay, hi, Manzar. First of all, thank you so much for this session. You did this last year as well, and it was extremely helpful. I applied and I actually got through Chevening's first shortlisted for the interview, and I could not make it in the interview. So now I have four questions. The first one is that what do you suggest? Should the same application with which I applied last year for the Chevening ka first part, should that work, or should I make changes? Yeah, so that's the first part of the question. The second is a little bit about the interview. Um, as in, what do they exactly look? What is that? What are that two things that I absolutely cannot mess with or go wrong with? So, yeah. So what is absolutely that they look for in the interview? Because the questions remain the same, which is in the form. So yeah. So that's another question. The third one is that um I have observed, just like Shreya pointed it out, that people who are founders or people who have worked with the government, not really as an officer, but then in consulting capacity or some way in that manner, I've observed that they get to be selected. Now, I can be wrong, um, but I don't have anything of that sort. So, how would you suggest that I should make the most of this year to enhance my chances of getting applied? And the last question is that so I applied for Oxford and could not get through Oxford. Um, and I, like many of my mentors, told me outrightly that Oxford is a elitist institute, and if you don't come from, an IIT, IIM, which I'm not
So your chances automatically reduce because they do look for your very particularly for your CGPA, for the kind of background you come from, what college you have done. So what is your take on it? Is that really true? Or should I like give it a chance this time, or should I just simply not give it a chance at all and shift my view to other colleges? And my last question is that when we say impact, what exactly is impact? As in, if you could give an example, how strong the impact should be. So yeah, what exactly is impact? How many people should it impact to make it impactful? Yeah.
This definitely deserves a separate session, Rubna. The depth of questions you have showcased, and it's 8 in the morning here, and such difficult questions. Okay, jokes apart, um, I'll go in the reverse chronology for answering your questions. Um, see, again, impact is a very subjective concept. Um, when I was giving examples of Chevening in my essays, it had talked about how there's this one scholarship initiative which I run, and it used to support certain learners, um, and how I was able to bring an alumni body together. That was my idea of impact. Again, similarly, another impact was not huge in number, but it led to, let's say, a policy that would eventually lead to larger impact. So your impact could be direct, your impact could be maybe. There was someone who mentioned about how they were facing challenge in their locality due to drainage. There was some drainage issue, and then they single-handedly approached the entire issue with dealing with the municipality workers, dealing with the local representatives, and then they did it alone, and then it eventually supported the entire, or eventually helped the entire locality, right? So that's also one of the ways of looking at impact. The idea of leadership is not that you have to always hold these high positions or these some fancy designation or titles. The idea is you look at a problem which exists in your society, and it could be in your role, it could be in your any particular organization you have been part of, and then how you felt that this is not okay by you, and then you just took a step to address it. So achieving and leadership in general is all about that. So that's my first approach to this question. If you
Got
may unmute yourself and you can tell me where did you undergrad from, and what was your CGPA, if you're okay with telling that
Yeah, yeah.
publicly.
So I did my undergraduation from Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, which is in Delhi, and my
Yes.
CGPA was 8.12.
Okay, so let me just bust this myth immediately. Oxford is an elite university, no doubt about that. My grades were 75% throughout my life. It has still been the same. 70% in my undergrad, 75% in my 12th, 10th. I managed to get 77 in 12th. I'm really happy about it. In my this master's as well, I managed to get 7.2 CGPA. All my life, I have been a very mediocre average student. So if I can make it to Oxford, and then you have gone to DU, which is still a good university. I went to a engineering university in Dehradun. No one would have heard of it. And then obviously I did some field work at TIS. So with this experience, if you can, I can get into university like Oxford and get a scholarship like Chevening. I am pretty sure you have really good credentials. So do not listen to anyone who says that, oh, it will only take, because again, this is the idea of representation. Again, we people think that only elites or people who have like really good educational backgrounds from IIT or IIM can get through. It's not the case. It's how you draft your essays. It's how you um, convince them that your experience is something which will add value to the classroom and later as well. So
Hmm.
regarding profile, I don't think it's the right approach. Please don't do that. Okay.
Got it.
What Chimney looks at the interview, I swear I don't know, man. I have seen people who have got amazing experience who still they don't manage to get through the first round. You have managed to go to the interview stage, so that's again your essays are on point, your experience is on point, so don't have to worry about the answers. You can still
Hmm.
use the same essay with some tweaks. That's completely okay. So you have cracked the code. Interviews, they want to see that the person who wrote the essay is the same person here right now. How passionately, how with with what conviction you're trying to talk about the points you have made in the essays. That's what they look at.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Interviews are a different game altogether. Maybe did you take a few mocks before the interviews? I don't know if you've done that. That has
Yep, I did. I
always,
did.
yeah, that has always helped. Um, maybe just maybe once, hopefully, if you crack it this time, then if you get the interview invite, you can reach out to me and I can speak to you around that
Yep.
time. But honestly,
Mm-hmm.
interviews are a different game altogether. You don't know what Chevening likes and what it doesn't like.
Got it.
Sorry. And last thing, there's also a regional quota, if I'm not wrong. This is my understanding that let's say Delhi, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, they will all have, depends on in that region, what
Mm-hmm.
was your competition like? Like if you get amazing competition, obviously it becomes competitive. So depends who all are sitting for the interview from that region as well. So you don't know what doesn't work or what works. You don't know where did you land in the waiting list as well. So all the best.
Got it.
We know we are on time and we have already taken 10 minutes of Manzar ahead of time. So, Manzar, we would like to know from you if you would like to take a
No,
few
I'm okay.
questions.
I'm okay with
You
that.
okay?
Yeah, as long as
Then
yeah.
perfect. So, just an FYI for everyone. So, please be mindful of others' time as well. And if you can just ask one question and you can be a bit quick as well, so that everyone get a chance to ask the question. So, Jatin, you can go ahead next. And don't worry to those who are dropping their questions in the chat box as well. We'll take them quickly as well. So don't worry about it. So Jatin, you can go ahead.
Hi, Manzar. Thank you for the session. Uh, Strategically speaking, does it make sense for somebody who's never applied abroad before to apply a little bit later to Shivning because it's usually considered that um, as you progress into the application cycle, your essays end up getting better. So, do you think it makes sense for me to first apply to some other universities and after that only apply closer to the deadline in October, so that Shivling being a really important essay ends up going after a few other essays have been sent? And just a small follow up to what you just mentioned in terms of the regional quota. I know it'll just be a guess, but what do you think? That is according to the place that we studied from the last time or the place that we are currently working at? Thank you.
Okay. I think the regional quota it comes from the domicile, if I'm not wrong. And again, it has been something really. This has been just my theory. I think that way. It mostly might be the domicile. Now, answering your first question regarding the timeline, well, you are being too ambitious if you think you'll apply to all the universities by October. If you can do that, good luck to you. And I mean, that's hats off because it will take time. Most of the university applications you will be applying by the time it's January, February. Let's say Oxford has a deadline for November, then you can do that at max, but it takes time. I personally advise it the other way that you have time now to write your essays well, and this cheating essays can then be used or repurposed for your university applications. So rather than spending your university, and by the time you are in October, November, then you can immediately start your university application. So that would be my personal advice that don't delay tuning for university applications. So give more time to tuning right now rather than university applications because university applications ka time so you'll have until next January as well, except barring Oxford, which if MPP has a deadline in November, if I'm not wrong. But other courses can go until January, February. So prioritize Chevening right now because this can be easily repurposed for Chevening, Commonwealth, and also university applications, and in universities' internal applications for scholarships as well. I hope I answered Jatin.
Yes, thank you so much.
No worries.
Hi, can I go next?
Go ahead, Vijay. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Manzara. I'm really sorry about the background noise if there is any.
There is none. No.
Yeah. So, my question is that I have worked in several fields during my bachelor's, and I haven't really been consistent with one thing. I've always tried something new till my final year, and even after that, I worked in a completely new field. And now I've resigned from my job, and now I am currently trying to switch to a new field again, and I want to go in a different direction with my masters. So it doesn't look very consistent in terms of sticking to one technology or sticking to one field. So how do I approach this in my essays, and how do I make it look like I am passionate about what I am applying for? Uh, and will it be affecting my application, or will it look like a negative thing? Yeah, that's my question.
Well, for the first two essays, I don't think it really matters which field where you come from. Both leadership and networking, it's independent of the sector you have worked in, because it's a personality trait, correct? It's completely fine. Now, coming to the choice of course, again, if you are able to build this connection, because I'm sure like all these pivots or all these changes have happened either you wanted to do it because you want to learn something differently. So you can justify it, rationalize it. If you are able to channelize all of it towards why this course now, then it's completely okay. It will not negatively impact. I don't think Chevening or any universities abroad, they look at you as someone who's confused, who's not clear. So don't think about that. It's completely okay to have pivoted multiple times. But as long as you're able to justify that why this course now, it shouldn't be just another choice you have made in the past. Like why now and how this will further lead to your career path. If you're able to build that connection, I think that should be okay. Usually people always build on the approach that, well, my work experience here taught me this, and that's why I think this was a missing piece from my academic training or professional experience, and hence this degree will be a perfect fit for that. So this is the usual approach, and they appreciate intersectionality, they appreciate interdisciplinary approach to education as well. So if you are, let's say, a tech person who's getting into development policy, so that will again be a very beautiful lens to bring in. So it's completely fine if, but you should be able to intertwine it well. You should be able to sync it well so that it looks that yes, they know what they're doing. Does that help, or was it just confusing?
No, I get it. I've tried to maintain some sort of cohesive approach to it, but I wasn't able to justify it. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And last thing, thank you for your time. And are you available to connect individually this month or this week?
I think Asba has mentioned you. If she has not shared my link on LinkedIn, you can reach out to me. I will definitely try my best. Maybe next week I have a few slots, but I can check. But you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So,
I'm hungry,
May I go
so
next?
we'll have to.
hi.
How many more questions do we have?
Can I just ask one quick question?
Okay.
Yeah. So, hi. This is Sadia here. Thank you so much, Manzo, for your interactive session and very informative. So, my question is that I have already completed my master's degree in social work from Maulana Azad National Urdu University, which is in Hyderabad. Maybe you have heard about it.
Yes.
So now, this will be my second master's degree if I'll definitely apply. So I just have a confusion that I have not held a formal or official job, but I have completed internships and have independently worked in the field of education. Like I'm doing this work since 5 to 6 years independently within my connections and the network I have built throughout the year. So does that would this experience be considered as work experience in the SC or the application?
I think yes. Was this your post graduation? I think you've done a master's in social work. You have talked about that.
Yeah.
But okay, if this was your post graduate or post undergrad, it will be counted as a work experience. So don't worry about it.
Okay. And since it was an Urdu university, so does that will
Doesn't
that
matter.
affect?
Doesn't
Oh,
matter. No.
okay, okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
May I go next?
Go ahead, since you've talked about it, go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you for this chance. Currently, I'm in 12th standard from PCM science stream, and and this scholarship is mainly for masters. Is there any for undergrad?
Um, I'm sorry, Appraise. I mean, I really appreciate your um, this is great, but I have no idea, man. I have no idea about undergrad. I wish I knew. But good that you are trying so early. Right, I'm sorry, I only know about masters. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you for your consideration.
No worries, Appraise. Good. Right after 12th, you are all the best.
Can I
Thank
go
you.
ahead? Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, Nafisa, please.
Hello, can I go
Okay.
next? Hi, Manzar.
So
I think Nafisa is speaking. Let Nafisa speak first, and then we
yes.
can. Yeah.
Okay. So I have completed my bachelor in 2024 in computer application, and I don't have an official experience in the particular field that I want to pursue my master's degree, which is at CR, the human computer interaction. Like I have done the internships, okay, in web and as a web and app designer, and some like I have facilitated at an international level, but not a particular an official experience I have. So I just wanted to ask that how I can prepare an essays and everything if I don't have that experience in the particular field that I don't have.
The issue, Nafisa, is Chevening has become really strict with your mandatory experience after your graduation. So let's say if you have graduated in 2024, so now they expect that post 2024 you should have 2 years of experience. If you don't have that, I think you will not be eligible for the scholarship in the first place. So you will not be able to submit the essays. You'll have to be. I think there's no work around this now. Previously they allowed it uh, during your internship and everything, but now it's gone. So you'll have to gain some experience, even if it's volunteering or unpaid. You
Yeah.
have to get something for 2 years after
Mm,
2024.
yeah, I have some like I have done some leading roles at an international level. Like it's Noble learning PBC. It's an NGO, I guess. So I have facilitated the some courses there. So like I have experience at the leading position, but not the exact degree official experience. Like so, for example, the masters I wanted to the degree I wanted to pursue is human computer interaction. So it's completely on UX user experience and UI, right? So I don't
Yeah.
have that experience, right? So like I have the certifications, I have my work, my like I have done some projects, and
Hmm.
like I have done the some projects with an at international level with my connections, okay, who are from different countries. So
Hmm.
that that can okay, like for the for any other university, like for any other not just Chevening, but for any other university I'm applying for.
Okay. See, if I think this is very similar to what Vajee had asked. If the first two essays, they don't care much about the experience you come from. Like, doesn't matter if you want to pursue a degree and then your leadership experience is coming into some other experience. It need not be from the same field, from the same theme. So that you can bring from any of the international roles you have held, you talked about right now. With regards to the choice of course, again, it's only about how well you have researched the course. Let's say you want to do in human interaction, a human complete. I don't know, HCI you talked about?
Yeah, HCI, yeah,
Yeah,
HCI.
yeah. So HCI, you can talk about that in detail, that you can show that you have researched this course well and what are the modules you want to pursue and how your any of the previous experience can sync with that. The last
Hmm.
is the important where you have to justify it properly that once you will achieve this degree, once you will get this degree, the components or the course modules, how will they contribute to the short, mid, and long-term career plan, which is again a very forward-looking approach. So I still feel that if you don't have a direct experience from from the field you want to pursue into, that is still okay, because people eventually they go for degrees which is helping them upskill, getting another degree. That is completely fine. I think the main point for you here would be that how you align with your previous degree to something you want to do ahead, what you want to pursue ahead. This is
Yeah.
where you will have to be mindful, but it's
Yes.
still doable. But you'll have to get a few more months or years of experience, I feel, Nafisa.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you so much. So there's like one last question. I'm sorry about that. Like I have some shortlisted some universities, like the university I wanted to apply, and the one university I chose is like they haven't launched that program yet. Okay, that HCA program they haven't launched it yet. They were gonna launch it in September, this September. So the university is completely on research intensive, right? Like on research side. So if a candidate have the experience in research, so for example, they have the experience of internship, like research internship or user experience, they'll get their chances is increased to get an acceptance. Okay, so I like HCI is a complete like different. Okay, so my question is like if I have the experience, okay, I don't have the research internships, so like my chances of getting acceptance from that university will be okay or not. Like I just get confused between these because I was like that. Should I started to finding some research internship right now, or like what do I do?
It's a very difficult question, Nafisa. And if there's a specific component they are requesting in the application, if you don't have that, I think that will be difficult to get through. But I would always advise that before you write the application, you write to the admissions team in advance, build your case, and if in case most of the times they respond that if they think you should be going ahead with the application, you should go ahead with that. But reach out to the admissions team first, and they will connect you with the department which is taking care of the application process. And if they feel that your profile has remit, then you can apply for it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Okay,
Hi,
friends,
Mansi.
5 more minutes. Sorry, yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Hiba.
thank you so much. So I have a question with regard to my background. I have 6 years of leadership experience in a business industry, and my I have done an MBA as well. However, last year when I applied to multiple universities, I got through into colleges like UCL, University of London, Warwick, and those courses that I applied for were mostly into artificial intelligence or data science. So scholarships like Chevening, they have certain missions, certain objectives that they sort of promote courses, because I have also seen the kind of courses that they sort of sponsor students for, mostly are into development field. So do you think I have a chance, because I did receive partial scholarships from universities, but I'm reluctant whether the kind of profile that I have, or I have business and technical background. So will that weigh in any kind of impact in my application?
One, no, Chevening doesn't promote all Chevening cares about is leadership, networking, how do you build your community, and how clear you are about the course you want to pursue and a career plan. That's it. All Chevening cares is for these four essays. So I have said it again in the past as well that it's the way the number of So imagine you are getting 500 applications for social sciences or development sector, development sciences, and then 20 applications for, well, let's say, business or tech. So obviously there will be a disparity on number of people who get selected because the number of applications are quite high from this particular field. Having said that, there is no restriction there is no promotion on one particular field by Chevening. They have always made it very clear, and it just comes out that most of the universities in the UK are good for social sciences, and people come for that.
Yeah.
So I think if you have, don't worry about Chevening being very hell bent on a particular course. That the
Okay.
course or the university comes really late for them. It's the initial few essays. That's what that matters. That's what that matters.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
All the best.
Hello.
Yes, Samreen.
Yeah, hi, Mansa. So let me just give my quick background on where I am. I completed my graduation in 2020 from BCom Honors and then joined IBM and worked there for about 3 years. And then I took a 2 year career break because of my family responsibilities I have. During that time, I also did some freelancer work. And for the last 3 4 months, I am building my venture, which is Sakina Nest, into the home furnishing gifting set. And so I applied for the September intake, mini university, and then I got the offer from Durham University, which is conditional offer letter for MSc in fintech, and I also have an offer from Leeds University for the same program. Here, where love your guidance. Like I'm torn between going ahead with this master's or instead pursuing an MBA, which would mean taking the GMAT first. My longer term goal is to move into consulting. So, given my background and goal of getting into consulting, would an MSc in fintech or an MBA position would be better for me?
Okay, Samarine, hats off to the entrepreneurship bit. Good
Thank you.
job on that. Second, I am again just like another question I asked, I'm way far from the business side of the education. I have limited idea. I don't want to give you any advice which is not backed by my experience or evidence.
Okay.
I mean, both of these universities, I'll give you a very personal suggestion. Both these universities are good. But again, MBA has a more marketability slash
Yeah.
that's the
Door
case.
openings are
Yeah.
more in like into MBA as a leadership role.
So you know it. You have the
Yes.
answer already.
But it just like I got the offer as I applied, so I'm little bit confused about should I like prepare for my GMAT and then like apply for more good universities and
Ideally,
focus.
yes.
Okay.
Ideally, yes. Because think of it, they would also, you got the offer, but they would also want us to be paid the fee, right? For them,
Yes.
it's you are
Mm-hmm.
just another student. So I think you should take some time if you have that privilege, take some time and then prepare for
GMAT.
GMAT and then appear for an MBA. Again, I have no idea about fintech. I have no idea. I don't want to give advice which is not backed by evidence. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no issue, Mazhar. Thank you for your guidance in between the confusion of master program and for the MBA.
It's all the best.
So can I go next?
Yes, Nora.
Yes, so thank you. I have two questions. One is related to, as sir mentioned, that we will have to have a unconditional offer letter for the scholarship. Does it mean that we'll have to apply through the university website separate and then contact the faculties for admission? And my second question was, my long-term goal is to have, not long-term goal, my immediate goal after doing master's is to do a research program. So if I am to do a research program abroad after, if I get into Chevening Scholarship and do masters, does that affect my background check? Do I really have to come? I get that immediate return to your home country is a mandatory thing. How can I what cope up with that gap in my plan? Thank you.
Okay, answering your second question first, it will be difficult to at least finish the 2 year thing and then do your research program, what you want to do. Since it's also being recorded, I'm not going to say anything more than that. Second, regarding your unconditional offer, yes, these are two separate processes, Noora. The first process is obviously the scholarship of Chevening will happen separately. The university applications will happen differently. But if you apply between the between the university deadline, most of the university deadline for applications will be January, February, March. So let's see if you apply like by January, you will get an offer by February, March, or maybe even April. Chevening will give you time until July, so you will have enough time for to get an unconditional offer and submit it to Chevening till next July. So Chevening will not ask you any offer letter until July. And no one asked this question in the session today, but you can change the choice of courses you have mentioned in the application if you go to the interview stage. Let's say out of the three choice of courses you didn't get into any of the applications by February, you can still change the choice of course in the interview. Say that, hey, I want to change my choice of course. So it's a separate process altogether, and you will have to definitely pursue it separately. So don't worry about that.
Thank you, sir. For one more question, do I have to like contact the faculties? Do I have to mail them?
No. It's the process only. Eventually, they will be giving the process is getting a conditional offer first. They will give you a set of requirement. You fulfill that requirement, and then you get an unconditional offer. So that's a standard process across the applications.
Thank you so much, sir.
No worries. All the best.
Can I go next?
Yes, Nabiha. I think it's Nabiha and I think Bajiha and Noora. I'm assuming it's a legacy hand, so it's just Nabiha now, correct?
Okay. So, sir, I have completed my undergraduation in 2025, and my 2 year work experience will be completed in 2027. At the same time, I'm also pursuing my LLM while working with the foundation. Will pursuing my master's degree simultaneously with my work experience will be an issue, or will my work experience will still be considered valid? And is it possible for me to apply to universities first and then apply for the Chevening Scholarship later? Like, is it possible?
Okay. Answering both the question. The first question, it's completely fine. If your undergrad is done in 2025, that's all that matters. If you do a parallel degree, if you're able to justify that, if you don't want to mention LLM as well, that's completely okay. But 2 year post graduation, that's what they say. So going by the words. Second, I mean, you can apply to universities in advance, but that's there's no it's fine depending on your time management skills. If you can do that, you should do that. Because Chevening will be time sensitive, like you have to submit by November. So all your time has to go there, whereas you still get some time to apply for universities later. So you can apply to universities now if applications open, but most of the applications will open in September for universities. Chevening will open in August. You will have to start your essays, drafting your essays now because your essays will go through multiple drafts of revisions, and by the time it's ready to be submitted. So I would advise to go for Chevening first, but if you want to, you can always submit a university applications first, depending on your time management skills, as I said. Does that answer, Noora?
If it is okay, can I ask a very quick question?
Yes, Ilham, go ahead. We'll take 10
Yeah,
questions.
I wanted to ask that you mentioned about not using AI. So can we use AI for at least refining or proofreading, or should we not use it at all?
Okay, I have two different cases here. One, obviously, it's risk. It's a risk associated to it. But two, I know I mentored someone last year. Uh, in the end, we did use AI just to fix the grammar or structure. She's got the scholarship now, so I'm just talking to this person, and then she's getting into University of LSE now. So I wouldn't say completely rely on it. Maybe use Grammarly or some app which is used for just to structure the answers well, or maybe write and fix the grammar, but do not use AI to write answers. That's what I'll say. You can use it for the grammar correction. So maybe use Grammarly, or if you can get something like that.
Thank you so much.
Because yeah, I know someone who got through, and I had mentored her, so I know that we definitely use some bits of AI to fix the grammar and language.
So, Mansur, we have a question, and it's regarding so Amtul is a fourth year doctor of pharmacy student. How is her scope in this? She's about to, she'll complete 2 years. She has completed 2 years. So, what's the scope about it? Pharmacy, doctor of pharmacy.
And there are courses around the field. I mean, again, very alien to this subject, so I'm not an expert at all. But I'm pretty sure there will be a few good courses or universities for this as well. So there's no restriction by Chevening on this, as long as you have 2 years of work experience. Chevening doesn't care about the sector or field, guys. All they care about is your leadership, networking, and then your clarity on your from the career plans.
Yeah, and we have a question from Samina. What if someone doesn't have a formal experience in a regular office job and is building an independent social entrepreneurial initiative? What do you
That's
think?
fine. That's fine.
Okay, and if Rida is doing bachelor's from an open university like DUSOL, undergraduate from a distance degree, are they eligible?
Um, I have no idea, honestly. I don't want to give any wrong information.
Okay, and I have relevant experience of 1 year and 7 months, and I'm still working with the same organization. Is it possible to apply before completing 2 years, or we can only apply after 2 years of experience?
After guys. Till the
Okay,
time your Chevening application goes in, you should have 2 years.
sounds good. And we have another question that is, I have completed my bachelor's in 2022 and master's in 2025 in the field of organic chemistry. I want to pursue PhD next, and I also have experience as high school educator for the past 2 years. Currently, I'm pursuing master's in English literature. So, am I eligible to apply? Too much degrees.
Yeah, man. Okay. Eh, They plan to apply for a PhD?
I guess yes, because the person is currently doing masters as well and preparing for.
Uh, I
Yeah.
think this scholarship anyway is not going to give you PhD degree, for PhD. So anyway, there's no point. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it. Thank you so much, everyone, for asking these questions, and thank you so much for such brainstorming questions as well. And sometimes I genuinely feel that maybe we need more such sessions and how.
I think she's gone.
Yeah.
I think she lost the network.
For um,
Sorry, I
thank you so
just
much,
resumed.
Manzur.
Yeah. Okay. No worries, Vidna. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking out time and dealing with all of us with so much of patience. And we look forward to your guidance and all the best to all the applicants. We hope that all of you make it, and then we'll celebrate together, the Led by Tribe. So, till then, take care, everyone, and have a good weekend. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.
Bye-bye. Yes.
Thank you, Manzur. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I am so sorry, everyone, for dropping off. It's just my really bad network issue. But yes, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you so much, Manzar, for being with us as well and for being one of the greatest mentor to us. And at the same time, your mentorship is something which is really valuable to us. So thank you so much for that. And to the people out there, and this is going to be recorded and we are going to post it after doing our due diligence. So please feel free to connect with Manzar, to connect with Led by in case you have any questions, any doubt, and definitely we will come with more such sessions on more scholarships. So really looking forward to have you. And with this, I am signing off on behalf of Led by team. Thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy your Sundays.